Hi there. A few years ago, I had the privilege of going to 1440, which is a retreat center and a place where speakers come and talk in Santa Cruz, California. And I went to see a woman. Her name is Margaret Paul, and she has coined the term inner bonding. She does work that's really around inner child work and the connection, us becoming connected to our inner territory, our inner child, to ourselves. And one of the things that she talked about was this concept that so often what we do is she had this visual of basically that or say like for me, that when I'm looking for outside validation and love and connection, what I basically do is I take my little baby. Okay, so picture that I have like a little baby inside me, and I take that baby and I hold it right here, pointing outward, and I put my arms out in front of me and say, will you take care of my baby? Will you love my baby? And so we go around to people and ask people if they'll love our baby. And it reminds me of the story that's called Are You My Mother? And it's a story, a children's story, where a little bird goes around and asks all these other animals, are you my mother? Are you my mother? And it's kind of the same concept. It's like we're just constantly looking externally for someone to finally treat us the way we wanted to and needed to be treated as a child. And we're just like longing for it and craving. And most of us are doing this unconsciously, unconsciously. And we really believe it's actually what we need to be doing. My name is Deb Blum, and I am a self-love and authenticity coach. And I mainly work with moms, because one of the reasons why I work with moms is because I really believe moms, first of all, are really struggling a lot. And I want to provide an opportunity for moms to understand that there's another way to do life and another way to be a mother, and that we can do this. We don't have to suffer as much. It doesn't have to be grueling. It can be wonderful and amazing. And also because I really want us as parents to raise children who are authentic and love themselves, treat themselves with kindness, and who grow up to bring their full selves to the world and do really cool things and turn into adults who are awesome. So I have this book here, and I just want to show you. I actually don't even remember. I think I read this such a long time ago. I'm not even positive I remember what it's all about. But healing your aloneness, finding love and wholeness through your inner child. And that's a lot of what we do together. I do with my clients. I do in my membership group called Self-Love Base Camp. And I will put a note in the comments, a link to Self-Love Base Camp. It's actually selflovebasecamp.com. Where I have a membership group with moms who are on the journey to love themselves. And most of these moms that I work with are just entirely too hard on themselves and never feel like they're enough, even though they do so much. But I want to talk about this concept of giving away our baby to other people. I call this self-abandonment. I truly believe that self-abandonment is at the source of so much of our suffering. And then it's not, and that when we talk about self-love and self-care, so many people are talking about it as this thing that we need to do. Like we need to do self-loving things. We need to do self-care. We need to go out and get a massage, or we need to meditate. And all these things are really great, and they can be at the source, at the core of like what's going to give you the courage and mental strength and emotional connection to be able to do something every single day. But really what self-love is actually a way of being. It's a way of being where instead of being critical of ourselves, beating ourselves up, and resisting life, resisting feelings, resisting sensations, resisting our experience, we come into deep connection with ourselves. Instead of rejecting parts and aspects of self, we look at them, we befriend them, we get to know them. So rather than just exiling aspects of ourselves, which sometimes we don't even know because they're unconscious, but like, for example, like there can be elements of the human existence that we don't prefer to be. Like we don't want to lie, or we don't want to cheat, or we don't want to be mean to people. So what we do is, instead of befriending those aspects, we really just exile them. We shove them out of our awareness, and we say, I am not that. But actually, we're everything. That's just the reality. We're everything. And so this is really a journey to wholeness. And that's one of the things I love about this book so much, is that I totally agree with Margaret Paul and her co-author, Erica Chopik, I think Chopik. But this concept that in order to heal our aloneness, in order to find love and to find wholeness, we need to do this work, which is reconnecting and bonding with this inner child that we have, which is, we could say, is one part, but I actually have come to see that it's really just getting to know all aspects of ourselves, all parts of ourselves. And those parts can be different ages of us growing up, different circumstances from the past, different aspects of who we are, like the kind part, the mean part, the part of us that has lied or could lie or does lie, the part of us that's very honest and trustworthy, the part of us that's reliable, and the part of us that's not. The aspects, we have so many aspects of self, and instead of rejecting parts of ourselves, which actually causes tremendous suffering and truly causes us aloneness, because what we do is we actually literally take these parts of ourselves, like they're like a bit here and a bit there, and I like to say that we take them out of ourselves and we stick them into a backpack. And the reason why I say that is because two things happen. One is we feel an increasing sense of emptiness because we have holes in us all over our like psyche, all over who we are. But we also put it into a backpack and carry the burden of resisting and rejecting those aspects all of our lives until we start to go into our backpack, look inside and go, yep, those are parts of me too. And we take those pieces and we put them back into ourselves. We fill in all these holes and we start to feel whole. We start to feel more complete. We start to know ourselves better. We get to see all of who we are, not just the parts that we think that society or friends or family would deem to be acceptable. And it all started in childhood, when parents with really good intentions socialize us to be able to survive in the world and to thrive and to be social and to have friends. And by the way, I don't even know if it's wrong to do it. I don't even know, because we do have to survive in this world. This world is a relatively hard place to live. And so if we just had complete vulnerability to everything, maybe it would be too hard. I just don't know. I do think that there is a way to live to raise our children that doesn't have to completely cause our children to reject themselves. So I do think there's a way to socialize them with intention and also help them to never have to really banish aspects of who they are. I will talk about that in a future video. I want to talk about the idea of how to have conversation with our children so that we acknowledge the impulse and we normalize that all human beings feel these ways, but we don't actually have to accept the behavior. There's a very big difference in those things. So what do? We abandon ourselves all the time. So what's another way we abandon ourselves? It's that because we've rejected these aspects of ourselves, because we're walking around kind of feeling this emptiness, because we have wounding in our childhood, we also walk around in ways where we may not be acting in integrity with who we are. We may be trying to win approval of another person or to not lose another person's love. So instead of standing in our center, holding onto our baby and saying, this is who I am, this is what I think, and I'm, I don't want to lose your friendship, or I don't want to lose your love, but I also can't lose my love either. We often, instead of doing that, what we do is we put our needs aside, and we think that the virtuous thing is to do something for another person. By the way, there is some truth to that. We can be in service to other people, but what I'm talking about is not so much whether you donate your time or you're in service to other people or you help people, but I'm talking about those tiny little micro moments all day long where we sort of turn our orientation toward trying to get our needs met by giving to someone else. And I call it give to get. We give to get. And giving to get is self-abandonment. It's usually not, it's like, I don't want to give this to me. I want you to give it to me. So I'm going to do everything I can to sort of coerce you, and some people would use the word, and I think the word is really appropriate, like manipulate another person to get our needs met. So I might be generous to you with the hope that you'll then give me what I need, or at a minimum that you won't hurt me. And so the work is in coming back from self-abandonment to self-love. And it's complicated because, if you look at self-love on a superficial level, it can look kind of egotistical, and it can look, it's like, oh yeah, just like focus on yourself. But it's really not. When we fill our cup, when we meet our own needs, when we begin to come to connection with ourselves, what happens is we actually have the capacity to be even more generous in the world. We are not walking around unconsciously saying, are you my mother? Will you take care of my baby? Instead, we're whole. We grow up, we mature. We integrate the adult us and the child us. We integrate all these aspects of ourselves. So we stand in our power. We come from a place of wholeness, and we actually can see other people's pain. We can actually have compassion for other people. We can really meet them where they are. So we don't come from, say, like a place of inauthentic sort of just trying to get what we want. We actually feel whole and full, that we're giving from a full cup. And that is a much more wonderful place to give, as far as from our perspective, but even for the other person as well. So self-abandonment, keep it in mind. Notice when you do it. It's usually happening in tiny little moments, tiny little increments throughout the day, more than it is some really big thing. Now, you may have been self-abandoning for so long that your orientation is external for so long that it feels like you're just full on self-abandoning yourself at all times. What I find is that most people have times when they're very much standing in their power and they are holding on to themselves. And then other times when they just can't because they've been impacted. And there are a million reasons why. And so I don't want to give you the impression that self-abandonment is something that you can just turn off. You probably kind of could, but to a large degree, it's usually rooted in deeper stuff. All right. Thanks, everybody. Again, my name is Deb Blum. And if you like this video, please do click the like button. If you enjoy my video enough, you want to, please click subscribe. And then the little bell next to it will let you know when I drop a new video. I don't actually have a schedule, but I am thinking about having a schedule. But for right now, I would just say, if you do click the subscribe button and the bell, at least then you will be notified. And then check out all my other videos. I have focused over the past year on very different variety of subjects, but all around personal growth, self-love, healing, and parenting. All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.